Welcome back to the deep dive. We are here to take your sources, rip them apart, and distill exactly what you need to know, saving you hours of scrolling. And well, Boxing Day football this year gave us a result that I think very few anticipated.
Oh, for sure. Especially not with the circumstances attached to it.
Exactly. We are diving into the gritty, intense drama at Old Trafford. Manchester United 1, Newcastle United 0.
On the surface, that looks like a pretty standard result. 3 points safely banked at home. But the sources we've got paint a really vivid picture of a team just hanging on by a thread. They were navigating some genuine adversity.
I mean, the list of absences was just staggering, wasn't it?
It was. Manchester United came into this fixture missing 7 senior players. We're talking about their captain, Bruno Fernandes, 2 starting center backs in Harry Maguire and Matheus Cunha, and, well, arguably their midfield engine, Kabi Minu.
And that's before you even mention the players about to head off for the Africa Cup of Nations.
Right. So you can really understand why the pessimism was, rife among the support.
Missing that much of your senior spine, your captain, your core defensive partnership, and your key midfield driver. It meant many, according to the sources, genuinely feared the worst against what is a strong Newcastle side.
It's a tough opponent to face at the best of times.
So our mission today is to thoroughly unpick this result, which supporters themselves have dubbed an ugly, huge W. We need to analyze the specific performance narrative. Why did a win feel so excruciating? We're isolating the surprising breakout stars who stepped up, scrutinizing the manager Ruben Amorim's genuinely controversial decisions, especially in that second half, and determining the true significance of these 3 points for United's push for Europe.
And that narrow 1-0 victory was clinched by a single spectacular goal from Patrick Dorgu in the 24th minute. Critically, that result propelled Manchester United up the Premier League table to 5th place. They're now level on points with both Chelsea and Liverpool.
You do have to note Liverpool still holds a game in hand.
Of course, yeah.
Ugh.
But achieving that kind of result under this sort of strain, that provides undeniable momentum, doesn't it?
It does, and the entire context of this match is just encapsulated perfectly by what Amorim said right after the game. He highlighted this narrative paradox, saying this performance was the opposite of previous games, where United had played beautiful football, created chances, dominated, but...
And dropped points.
And dropped points. Tonight, he stated, they suffered and they won. And that admission is so key because it tells you this wasn't a victory achieved through fluency or domination. It was sheer bloody-mindedness.
Precise. We're talking about a win achieved through grit, through extreme resilience, and frankly, a long, agonizing period of defensive trench warfare in that second half.
It was tough to watch.
It really was. And for a club that has, at times, been criticized for lacking character and struggling to see out tight games, especially when the pressure ramps up, this victory carries more than just 3 points. It offers a huge confidence boost. It validates the fighting spirit that Amorim is clearly trying to instill. It's the kind of win that builds a team, even if it leaves you needing a stiff drink afterward.
Okay, let's unpack this game, because the sources paint 2 wildly different pictures, tactically and emotionally, of the first 45 minutes versus the second. The first half felt like a genuine strategic masterstroke from Amorim. He defied expectations right from the whistle, didn't he?
Absolutely. Amorim is famously, synonymous with the 3-4-3 system. It's his thing.
It is.
Yet here, facing a severe personnel crisis, especially in central defense, he just ditched it completely. He started with a back 4, a 4-2-3-1 formation, for the first time in his current spell at United.
And that tactical flexibility was immediately praised by the fan base. I saw some jokingly calling it pure halal ball.
Yeah, a fan term meaning, pragmatic, results-oriented, just grinded-out football, prioritizing the win above all else.
And it suggests genuine adaptability on Amorim's part, moving away from his preferred dogma because the players he had demanded it.
Well, what was the thinking behind that specific switch? Amorim explained it later. He said he felt the back 4 was the only way to create more danger, the only way to have more opportunities. By using a 4-2-3-1, he had more players capable of getting inside the opposition block, specifically through that central axis.
So it allowed the fullbacks, Della and Shaw, to operate with a bit more freedom.
Exactly. While centrally, the partnership of Casemiro and Manuel Ugarte was bolstered by the crucial presence of Mason Mount playing in that number 10 position.
And that structural change, it paid massive dividends. The team looked better organized, more balanced, and the attacking intent was clear from the off, which led directly to the moment of the match in the 24th minute. Patrick Dorgu's fantastic goal. We really need to dedicate some time to this sequence. It was a moment of technical brilliance under a lot of pressure.
It truly was a world-class strike, the sort of goal that just elevates a performance. The buildup was a bit chaotic, but it came from genuine attacking pressure. The initial play saw Matheus Cunha, who was all effort, fire a shot that led to a corner. The corner was scrambled away, which led to a long throw-in from Dela.
And the ball eventually just popped out to the edge of the area.
It did, and Dorgu, who was operating this unfamiliar advanced right-sided role, he just took control.
And the crucial detail noted in the sources is the young player's confidence. He wasn't just ready for the strike, he actively asserted himself.
Precisely. It's reported that Dorgu literally waved Manuel Ugarte away, telling the older, more senior midfielder to clear his space before striking the loose ball on the drop. It was a stunning, powerful volley that just arrowed past Ramsdale. He had no chance.
His first goal for the club as well.
His first goal for the club, yeah, coming from his 31st attempt in a United shirt. It suggests he'd been putting in the work and finally broke that psychological barrier.
And that confidence wasn't just a fleeting thing. Dorgu himself referenced the coaching. He said, "I just took what Amorim told me to work on my confidence. I've been practicing and training, so I think that's what helped me."
That relationship is clearly paying off for the youth, isn't it?
It really is. But the scoreline, it really should have reflected that first half domination a lot more accurately.
Oh, absolutely. The sources highlight some significant missed opportunities that could have given United a comfortable 2 or even 3-goal cushion.
Which would have entirely changed the complexion of the second half.
Completely. Benjamin Sesko was denied only by the crossbar with a powerful effort. And perhaps the most galling miss came from Diogo Dalot.
That was a bad one.
He found himself clean through on goal, but just snatched at the chance.
Yeah.
Sent his shot well over the bar.
And that failure to capitalize proved so costly because the sources all agree that United looked threatening, they felt in control, and they absolutely deserved a wider lead.
And the linchpin of that control was Mason Mount.
He was everywhere in that first half.
Mount was the absolute catalyst for the success of that 4-2-3-1. He was critical in linking the midfield to the attack, providing the intelligence, the movement, and the pressing intensity they needed to maintain possession in those central areas. He was performing that crucial hinge function, constantly available for a pass, driving the team forward. His involvement was so vital that his subsequent absence proved just how reliant the team had become on him to execute that specific tactical plan.
Which brings us to the moment the whole tactical plan just disintegrated halftime. Amorim's strategic instructions were immediately tested because the single biggest catalyst for the dramatic shift in performance was Mount's enforced withdrawal.
Indeed. Mount felt something, which was a precautionary measure. Amorim wisely chose not to risk worsening it and pulled him off for Jack Fletcher.
And the impact was instantaneous, wasn't it?
Instantaneous and devastating to United's control. The tactical mechanism that had worked so well just broke down immediately. Fletcher, while he's highly rated, is just not ready for the responsibility of that pivotal link role.
And you could see it, the drop-off in intelligence, in movement, in pressing. It allowed Newcastle to just seize complete control of the midfield.
And the statistics tell a story of a complete siege. They confirm that feeling of losing control. If you look at the final numbers, United finished with a shocking 33.4% possession.
Just a third of the ball.
Just a third, yeah, compared to Newcastle's 66.6%. Newcastle racked up 16 shots versus United's 9, and the most dramatic comparison is touches in the opposition box. 43 for Newcastle versus a meager 15 for United.
That is staggering.
But the most eye-watering and perhaps most relevant statistic for understanding Amorim's second-half strategy is the crossing volume. Newcastle launched 46 total crosses into the United box.
46?
46. This wasn't just domination. It was unrelenting pressure. Eddie Howe, the Newcastle manager, even admitted that the second half was a lot stronger and they dominated, but he was left to rue their own shocking finishing.
He went so far as to suggest they could have played another 3 hours without scoring.
He did, which must have been incredibly stressful for the home fans. I saw one commenter describe the last 30 minutes as pure torture, saying there was no interest in playing the ball or scoring in the second half.
But this leads directly to the core tactical debate, doesn't it? Amorim's decision to shift to what looked like an extreme defensive formation, dubbed a 5 at the back, or even the hyperbolic 3 don't concede. Was this a panicked, cowardly reaction or a calculated, cold, strategic move?
This is where the deep dive into the source analysis really pays off, because there is a very strong counter-argument to the panic narrative. Many savvy supporters recognize this defensive setup as highly intentional. The strategy was basically to seal the central channels completely. By crowding the middle, Amorim made it impossible for Newcastle to execute short, intricate combinations or deliver through balls that would yield high XG chances.
So the geometry was designed to be suffocatingly narrow, forcing Newcastle to the sidelines.
Exactly. They were essentially giving up the flanks and inviting Newcastle to put in low-percentage crosses. Amorim and his staff banked on the statistical reality that an open play cross into a crowded box has a vastly lower probability of conversion than a clear-cut central opportunity.
It's pragmatic football. It's been likened to a Mourinho ball, or as some fans jokingly termed it, Haramball, a reference to any manager focused solely on grinding out a result by any means necessary.
They sacrificed aesthetics for statistically sound defense. And the result, 46 crosses leading to only 3 shots on target, proves the defensive geometry worked. It meant they trusted their defenders and, critically, their goalkeeper to command the air and manage that inevitable aerial bombardment.
And Amorim himself pretty much confirmed it, didn't he?
He did. He provided a crucial insight, admitting that they had to suffer together to win. He essentially confirmed the strategic shift. I felt that was the only way to create more danger, was with the back four in the first half. And then the second half, we just defended. Given the thinness of the squad and the loss of Mount, his willingness to completely abandon his preferred attacking philosophy and pivot to extreme pragmatism, well, it ultimately secured the 3 points. It validated his in-game management under duress.
It's the mark of a manager who adapts to circumstance rather than just relying on dogma. While it wasn't the ideal, expansive football United fans crave, it secured the result, and in a top-4 race, that is ultimately what matters. And amidst the tactical chaos of that second half, several players, particularly the younger ones, stepped up in a huge way. They really validated Amorim's trust. We have to start with the man of the match, Patrick Dorgu, whom some sources are already dubbing the new Danish Bale, which is, well, it's astronomical praise.
It is, but Dorgu's performance was genuinely spectacular, highlighted by his 7.72 rating. And the fact that his performance was driven not just by the goal, but by a crucial tactical switch from the manager, makes it all the more fascinating.
Right, because he's primarily known as a left wing-back.
He is, yet Amorim deployed him on the right side of attack, essentially as a high right wing-back or a wide winger, for the first time.
That seems a bit counterintuitive when you're facing a siege. Why deploy him in an advanced role on his weaker side?
Amorim revealed his coaching logic here, which is fascinating. He noted that by playing Dorgu further forward, his defensive responsibility is not the same. This gave Dorgu more freedom to lose the ball or make a mistake without immediately exposing the defense.
Ah, so it let him focus on the attacking risks.
Exactly. Dorgu is naturally quick and direct, and putting him high up the pitch meant he could constantly threaten the Newcastle left-back, keeping them occupied. It was a move designed to unleash his physical and technical strengths while minimizing his exposure to the defensive duties of a traditional fullback.
And it worked.
It absolutely did. Fans noted he was constantly making dangerous link-up plays, using his burst of pace and shooting with genuine confidence, culminating, of course, in that winning goal. His ability to maintain that threat and stretch the pitch was critical, particularly late on.
I saw he managed a blistering surge forward 6 minutes into stoppage time.
He did, just to waste valuable seconds and relieve the pressure. It was a performance built on technical quality and, crucially, a newfound belief fostered by the manager.
Now, moving to the defense, this was a masterclass in resilience, and the real story here is the emergence of youth, alongside the experience of Lisandro Martinez. We have to talk about the 18-year-old Aiden Heaven, who earned a stellar 7.42 rating in the heart of the defense.
Heaven was described by fans in hyperbolic terms, but deservedly so. Immense, shockingly well-rounded, and decisive and dominant. And you have to consider the context. He was playing on his weaker right side in a back four, right next to the returning Martinez, in a high-pressure Boxing Day fixture with the team facing continuous crosses. Yet he looked utterly composed.
That level of composure under that much pressure is so rare for such a young player. He's now earning serious shots from fans to be a genuine starter, even when Maguire and Delic eventually return from injury.
It is an incredible endorsement of the club's academy production line, and again, of Amorim's willingness to trust them. Heaven's positioning was impeccable, his tackling clean, and he demonstrated an impressive ability to play the ball out when the opportunity arose. He wasn't just a static defender. He actively disrupted Newcastle's flow.
And central to that defensive effort was the return of the butcher, Lisandro Martinez. While he only played 88 minutes due to the substitution, his presence and his class were just vital for organizing the young players around him.
Martinez put in a great shift. He is that aggressive, vocal leader this defensive unit desperately needed. He was seen immediately huddling the team together after Dorgu's goal, displaying the leadership qualities that fans have missed while he was sidelined.
He doesn't just defend, he sets the tone.
He really does. His aggressive pressing and proactive positioning instill confidence in the younger players. He acted as a crucial organizational anchor in that high-pressure three-don't-concede formation in the second half.
And behind them both, you have Sene Lammens in goal. His contribution wasn't necessarily highlight reel saves, but the sources praise him for something far more crucial: rock-solid reliability.
Lammens has been lauded as a low-key, massive signing and a steady force. And the ultimate praise, perhaps the most telling insight from the fan base, was this: we don't ever have to bring his name up.
That says it all, doesn't it?
It does. When a goalkeeper is quietly efficient, claiming crosses, making routine saves look simple, and avoiding mistakes, it builds crucial trust within the entire defensive unit.
And faced with those 46 crosses, that composure must have been just immense.
Absolutely vital. He commanded his box, claiming practically every single cross that entered his area, eliminating the drama and uncertainty that can plague a defense under siege. He was noted for his composure and a heart-stopping dive late on that was controlled and effective. Lammens doing things right and not creating drama or doubt provides the crucial, stable platform upon which young defenders like Heaven can thrive.
Right. Let's shift our focus slightly to the midfield, where another player, Manuel Ugarte, had a much-needed resurgence. He's faced some heavy criticism since arriving, often struggling to influence games, but this match was universally hailed as his best performance for the club.
He was excellent. He was finally playing to the standard United fans expected when he signed. He was highly effective in breaking up play, winning those crucial midfield duels, and tracking opposition runners diligently. He put in a real shift.
There was a specific highlight noted, wasn't there? A tackle on Anthony Gordon.
Yeah, a successful, timely tackle on Gordon. It was a moment of aggression and intelligence that denied Newcastle a really dangerous counterattack.
So the question is, what changed? Was it the system, the partnership, or just a shift in his own confidence?
It appears to be a mix of all those factors, really rooted in the tactical environment. He performed much better alongside Casemiro in that defensive midfield pairing. Casemiro's positional discipline allowed Ugarte to be less rigid. And crucially, Amorim seems to have given him the license to roam, playing to his natural strengths as a chaotic, disruptive third man in midfield. A player whose job is simply to run, hassle, and break the opposition's rhythm.
That's a stark contrast to previous outings where he might have been tasked with the deep-sitting, tempo-controlling role, which just didn't suit him.
Exactly. When he's asked to be the sole, static, deep controller, he struggles. When he's deployed as the engine room disruptor playing off Casemiro, his high energy and aggressive ball-winning ability really shine through. This performance showed that if you play him in a system that maximizes his strengths, constant movement and disruption, he can become the asset the club needs.
Right. Let's pivot to the managerial decisions. For all the praise Amorim deserves for the first half, 4-2-3-1, and his trust in youth, his substitutions in the second half caused genuine division and frustration among the fans. Some sources called the late changes mind-boggling. And Amorim was even accused of nearly throwing the game away.
The criticism was intense, yes. It was centered initially around the substitution of Casemiro in the 60-minute mark, and then it was amplified by the late withdrawal of Lisandro Martinez and Luke Shaw at 88 minutes.
And they were replaced by Tyrell Malacia, who hadn't played all season, and Tyler Fredrickson, another young defender.
Right, and the sources show a clear split into two distinct camps regarding the rationale behind it.
The first camp, the one strongly disagreeing with Amorim, argued that removing Casemiro killed what little control they had left in midfield. It just gifted the initiative entirely to Newcastle when they were already under so much pressure.
And subbing two veteran defenders right at the death, replacing them with a player who was completely match rusty and another inexperienced youngster. It just felt like an irresponsible risk to the 3 points.
That perspective is valid given the immediate, visible increase in nervousness on the pitch.
It is, but the counter-argument is deeply embedded in the strategic context of the festive schedule and the thin squad depth. United play again in 3 days against Wolves, followed by Leeds and Burnley.
Ah, so those substitutions were necessary acts of player protection, preserving key personnel for the upcoming, crucial, winnable fixtures.
Precisely. Casemiro's 33. Martinez and Shaw both have significant recent injury histories that management absolutely must protect. It was a strategic, long-term trade-off, as one supporter eloquently put it. You'll be grateful that Cass is available next game and not injured, though, won't you?
Fair point.
Amorim opted to risk a nervy finish today to guarantee the availability of his veterans for the next 3 games, where 9 points are absolutely vital for their European ambitions. The enforced departure of Mount at halftime only amplified the problem. Had he stayed on, possession would likely have been maintained, and the need for those deep defensive subs might have been mitigated.
One of the most explosive points of contention in the fan sources was centered around the attacking substitute, Joshua Zirkzee. His 30-minute cameo yielded a strikingly poor 4.97 player rating, and the reaction was, well, universally negative.
The reaction was brutal, yeah. The fan descriptions were not flattering. Disgraceful substitute appearance, lazy, slower than a turtle, and useless were all used.
Out.
The consensus was that he offered absolutely nothing in terms of attacking threat or defensive work rate. There was even speculation that his attitude suggested he was mentally checked out for a possible January transfer.
So a loan move to Roma or somewhere similar.
Exactly. He was perceived as being the equivalent to playing one man down during a period when the team desperately needed an outlet.
And this stands in such stark contrast to the effort shown by Matheus Cunha, who played the entire 90 minutes and became a lightning rod for the team's high work rate.
Cunha was lauded for his passion, his incredible work rate. He was running like a madman for the whole game in sheer physicality. Fans noted that his drive and his killer instinct were crucial in the absence of other established attacking threats.
I saw one commenter praise Cunha for busting his gut for the team, highlighting the importance of just sheer visible effort in that tense moment.
Absolutely. But, Cunha also drew criticism for his decision-making. He was described as impulsive, taking wild shots from 20 yards and needing to learn to pass more intelligently.
So that's the duality of Cunha, isn't it? He's raw and occasionally frustrating, but his desire to contribute is a massive positive.
It is. Even those who criticized his shooting acknowledged that his eagerness to try was a breath of fresh air. And as the saying goes, you don't win the raffle by not buying a ticket.
The key takeaway from this comparison, then, is that in a match defined by grit and suffering, attitude and work rate trumped silky touches, which made Zirkzee's perceived apathy all the more frustrating for the supporters.
We have to address the elephant in the room. This was a Premier League victory without Captain Bruno Fernandes starting. A highly rare feat for Manchester United, the first time since March 2022.
And this absence sparked a deeply philosophical debate among the supporters about team dynamics and leadership.
It really did. On one side, you had a vocal faction arguing that the team showed better cohesion, teamwork, attitude, positivity, structure, togetherness, synergy, and confidence without their captain.
That is a harsh yet fascinating assessment. They are essentially arguing that his theatrics and his tendency to gesture at teammates can be a distraction and sometimes hinder collective progress, even if his talent is undeniable.
Precisely. They were happy not to see the camera focus on him, blaming everyone else around him for his errors. This group felt that without the safety net of Bruno's omnipresent creativity, the other players were forced to step up and take collective responsibility, which led to that necessary defensive structure.
But the other camp, acknowledging his importance, simply stated that while his absence was noticeable, particularly the missing clinical and incisive forward passing, the team showed resilience in overcoming it.
They did. They also noted that Bruno, who has an almost superhuman level of fitness, is already nagging to return, but is definitely confirmed out for the crucial Wolves match.
It raises a powerful question about collective leadership. With the default attacking leader off the pitch, others like Martinez and Casemiro had to step up to fill the void, particularly in the organizational department.
This victory, built on defensive discipline and grit rather than fluid attacking play, perhaps served as an accidental experiment. It proved that while Bruno's creativity is missed, the team can find different ways to win through collective effort and tactical pragmatism. The style of play changes dramatically, but the ability to secure points doesn't necessarily vanish.
So let's zoom out from the 90 minutes of drama. What does this ugly, huge win actually achieve for Manchester United in the broader context of the league season?
Firstly, the league position is immediately and significantly improved. The victory lifts Manchester United to 5th place. We have to stress they are now level on 29 points with Chelsea and Liverpool, putting them firmly in that cluster chasing the European places.
And considering they were coming off a disappointing loss against Aston Villa just before this?
Right. The result provides a massive psychological lift. It proves, under the most trying circumstances, that they possess the character to grind out results, even when they're depleted.
And that mental resilience sets them up perfectly for what is arguably the most crucial run of the season so far.
Absolutely crucial. The sources highlight the upcoming league matches. Wolves away, then home fixtures against Leeds and Burnley. Fans rightly believe that a haul of 9 points from these 3 matches is possible.
And if they achieve that, it could propel United firmly into contention for the top 4.
Exactly. Before the schedule gets significantly tougher with games against City and Arsenal, Amorim's controversial decision to protect Casemiro, Martinez, and Shaw was a direct investment in maximizing returns from this upcoming pivotal league run.
It's a strategic choice, sacrificing comfort today for momentum tomorrow.
It is, and the faith placed in the youth only strengthens that position. The injury crisis forced Amorim's hand, compelling him to rely on academy products like Aiden Heaven, Patrick Dorgu, Jack Fletcher, and Tyler Fredrickson. And they delivered.
It validates the youth policy.
It does. And it gives Amorim a huge amount of internal credit for accelerating the development of players who may form the defensive backbone of the club for years to come.
Conversely, we have to briefly consider the implications for Newcastle, who felt they completely dominated that second half but failed to score. This defeat solidifies a pretty concerning trend for them.
Indeed. This was Newcastle's 6th loss in their past 9 away games in all competitions. It cements a dire run of away form that is clearly unsettling their supporters. They remain stuck in 11th place.
And the pressure on Eddie Howe is mounting.
It is, with some sources speculating that he may have hit his ceiling. The critique focuses on their lack of a clinical cutting edge. The fact that they dominated possession, created 46 crosses, and still couldn't break down a severely depleted United team. It only amplifies the disappointment for the traveling support.
This victory suggests that despite the constant changes, the severe injuries, and the structural problems that United have faced, Amorim's core belief that a collective, unified spirit can overcome individual talent deficits is finally starting to emerge. The win was less about beautiful football and more about, well, character development.
When we synthesize all the source material, the deep dive confirms that Manchester United secured these 3 crucial points, not through the aesthetically pleasing United way, but through a moment of individual genius from Dorgu and genuine disciplined collective defensive resilience. It was a victory defined by battling spirit in the face of extraordinary adversity, a trait that, ironically, fans frequently complained was absent when the team was playing prettier football earlier in the season.
It was a massive 3 points, but those highly controversial second-half substitutions are going to remain a focal point of discussion. The fans who strongly disagreed with the removal of Casemiro, Martinez, and Shaw certainly have a point. The substitutions were described as risky as hell and made the game unnecessarily intensely tense.
However, the underlying strategic context is paramount. Those changes were designed specifically to keep those 3 key players fit and available for the upcoming crucial winnable run of fixtures against Wolves, Leeds, and Burnley. Amorim's choice was not merely about winning this game, but about maximizing the club's position over the next fortnight. The long-term strategic game management, prioritizing fitness and momentum for the wider campaign, ultimately paid off in the result today.
And this leaves us with a final, provocative thought for you to mull over. Given the constant debate over managerial competency and style at Old Trafford, does winning ugly with a severely depleted squad prioritizing fitness for the next game and sacrificing performance quality today ultimately prove Amorim's long-term strategic game management is right? He risked the match today for the momentum of the next 3, and it paid off. Is this kind of cold strategic thinking, even if it causes squeaky bum time in the short term, the true measure of a high-level Premier League manager?
It certainly suggests a necessary shift away from the short-sighted mentality of previous regimes towards a more holistic squad management approach that takes the marathon of the league seriously. Whether the fans can consistently endure the tension of a grinded-out victory for the greater good remains the ultimate question for Amorim's tenure.
An ugly win, a massive display of character, and 3 crucial points secured. That's all for this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.